All right, let's talk about one of the biggest hurdles in the AI world today. How do we connect our smartest models to the live, real-time data that businesses actually run on? There's this huge gap between what AI could do and what it actually does day to day. Well, we're going to explore a brand new approach that promises to close that gap for good.
And this is really the heart of the problem, isn't it? We've got these brilliant AI agents, like GitHub Copilot, that can write all sorts of code. But what happens when that agent needs to check your live inventory or find a specific customer in your CRM? Right now, that connection is the bottleneck, holding back a massive wave of practical AI-powered automation.
This slide pretty much says it all. The old way was just a tangled mess. You had to build these complex, custom integrations for every single data source. It was slow, super expensive, and a huge drain on resources. The new approach we're talking about today, it's a single, standardized, low-code bridge. One protocol to connect all kinds of tools, making the whole process way faster, more scalable, and more secure.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to dig into this AI data disconnect. Then I'll introduce you to the two key technologies that are teaming up to solve it. After that, we'll get our hands dirty and actually build a connection server, step by step. Then the fun part, putting that AI to work. And finally, we'll zoom out and see why this is such a game changer for enterprise AI.
Look, your enterprise data is probably your most valuable asset. But for most AIs, it's totally locked away. It's kind of like having the world's best detective, but telling them they can't enter the crime scene. All that incredible reasoning power is pretty much useless without access to the evidence. We need to give them the key. And that key comes in the form of a new technology power couple, the Model Context Protocol, or MCP for short, and Azure Logic Apps. These two together create a really elegant and powerful solution to this whole data access problem. Okay, so first up is MCP, the Model Context Protocol. The easiest way to think about it is like a universal language for AIs. Instead of building a custom translator for every single data source you have, MCP provides this common set of rules, this shared grammar that any AI agent can use to talk to any compatible system. It's a huge deal.
And the other half of this dynamic duo is Azure Logic Apps. So if MCP is the language, you can think of Logic Apps as the building blocks. It's an awesome enterprise-ready low-code tool that lets you create workflows. It really is like digital Legos. You can just snap together these complex integrations with different systems without having to write tons of custom code.
And here it is, the breakthrough. You can now create MCP servers directly inside Azure Logic Apps. This native integration is what finally bridges that gap we've been talking about. It combines the dead simple, low-code power of Logic Apps with that universal standard of MCP. And that gives you an incredibly powerful way to build the exact data connections your AI needs.
All right, enough theory. We've talked about the what and the why. So now, let's get into the how. We're going to walk through the process of actually building one of these MCP servers, and you'll see just how straightforward it is.
First things first, creating the server itself. And honestly, this part is almost shockingly simple. You just hop into your Azure Logic Apps instance, and you'll see a new agent section in the menu. Go there, select MCP servers, choose to create a new workflow, and give it a name. Boom, that's it. The foundation is laid in just a couple of clicks.
Now, a server isn't much use without tools, right? This is where you tell the AI what it's allowed to do. You just click Add and pick from a whole library of connectors. For this example, we're using Dynamics 365. Now, here's the really cool part. When you select an action, like Create Record, a Logic App workflow is automatically created for you. You just fill in a couple of parameters, and you're good to go.
Of course, security is absolutely critical. So, in the authentication section, you can pick your method. We're just using a simple key here. You generate it, and now this part is super important. Copy and save that API key somewhere safe immediately. You only get to see it once. This key is basically the digital doorman that makes sure only your authorized AI agents can get in.
Okay, so the server is built, the tools are configured, and the whole thing is secure. The bridge is officially in place. So now for the really exciting part. Let's see how our AI can actually cross that bridge and get some real work done.
So after all that setup, what does it actually look like in the real world? Let's take an AI agent, something like GitHub Copilot, and see how it can now tap into this new direct connection to our live business data. This is where the magic really happens. And here's the payoff. A user just types a simple, natural language prompt right there in their code editor. Find customer, Atom Corporation. Behind the scenes, our MCP server lets the AI securely ping Dynamics 365, find that record, and shoot the result right back. It's a totally seamless, real-time conversation between a developer and their enterprise data, all powered by AI.
To complete this circuit, there's just one tiny, one-time setup on the client side, in this case, in Visual Studio Code. You just have to tell your AI agent where this new MCP server lives by adding its URL and plugging in that secure API key we generated earlier. Once that config is in place, the AI is officially connected and ready for action.
So we've seen the technical how, which is cool, but let's zoom back out to the strategic why. Because this is more than just a neat little integration. It's a fundamental shift that really unlocks a whole new level of possibility for enterprise AI.
So what do we get from all this? Well, there are 4 huge benefits. First, seamless execution. Agents can run right inside your existing workflows. Second, unified context, which means the AI can actually remember past interactions. That's critical for complex, multi-step tasks. Third, data abstraction. You're not writing custom code for every system anymore. And all that together means you drastically reduce complexity because you can reuse these AI tools across tons of applications.
So, the main takeaway is this. By combining that MCP standard with the low-code muscle of Azure Logic Apps, we now have a reliable, scalable platform to connect AI directly into the heart of our business operations. It really is the bridge we've all been waiting for.
Which brings us to our final slide, and really it's a question for you. Now that you've seen how this connection can actually be built, the possibilities are just wide open. Think about all those repetitive, data-driven tasks you do, looking up sales orders, creating new project entries. What's the very first thing you would want to automate?